Before we even get into this reaction, I'm gonna need a margarita. That's better. I don't know what it is about the cucumber jalapeno tequila. It just hits. Hello, welcome. My name is Shani and I'm a licensed professional clinical counselor. Today, I'm going to be reacting to Love is Blind. Now, my brain works a little bit differently. It might work the same as yours. One, I would consider myself neurodivergent. Two, I feel like I see people differently than the world sees them because of my therapy brain. I have a tendency to give people a little bit more grace. If I'm being honest, I don't know if we're gonna give anyone any grace today. Probably not. But you are here to hear my thoughts and opinions. Let's get into it. I am reacting to season 4, episodes 1 through 5. Like, we don't need to make separate videos. It ain't that deep. I think we kind of figured it out on the 5th episode. There was no need to go back and give you every episode. So let's get into it. Now, what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna go through the main characters that are on the show. Now, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the show, I'm about to spoil the shit out of it for you. So we're gonna go through with the characters and I'm gonna tell you what I think about each character. Okay, first of all, we have Brett. I am here for Brett. He is giving me, I know what I want, I'm put together, I'm established, I'm forgiving. Brett is forgiving. I am here for it. And he a black man? Okay, I'm here for it. Josh, you know what? We don't even need to go through Josh. Yeah. I mean, Josh is doing what Josh does. We don't even know much about him. We just know that at one point, someone was interested in him, but then they was like, nope, deuces, you not the one. Kwame, let's talk about Kwame. Kwame is giving me, have you grieved yet? The reason why I say have you grieved yet is because in episode 1, Kwame lets the women know that he recently, I believe that he had an injury and that ended his soccer career. And because of that, he is shifting. My question as a therapist is, have you gone to therapy for that? Have you worked through that transition yet? Because if not, that is a major shift for someone. And I think that people think of grief and death, like we grieve when people die, but grief is more than that. Grief is loss. It can be loss of things, it can be loss of people, it can be loss of careers. And Kwame, have you grieved? I don't know, because throughout these episodes, you are giving me you need therapy work. Marshall. I feel like we need to know a little bit more about Marshall. Marshall feels mysterious to me, but one of the things that I will say that Marshall is giving me is he's giving me energy of like, I'm going to fight for this, and he's giving me like supportive vulnerability. The woman that he ends up with ends up having a breakdown, I believe it's in episode 5, and he's just like, how can I support you? And she was getting real New York on him, but Marshall was just like, it's me and you. Like, can you be present with me? It's okay with how you are feeling. And I was like, I'm feeling you, Marshall. Paul, I have to remember that this is actual people and not like characters on a show. Paul, he's there. Paul reminds me of kind of like a less characteristic Cole. Like, I feel like when I looked at Paul, I was like, oh, you look like Cole. But then his personality was giving me like, Paul's just there. He's like, Paul reminds me of like, if you like go to a party, like you go to college, when you're in college and you go to a party with people and Paul is a part of the group and like you leave the party and everyone gets back and then the next morning you wake up and everyone's like, oh my God, wait, what happened to Paul last night? Zach. Zach is giving me mystery too.
Nice.
I need to know a little bit more about Zach. I don't know much about him as, you know what, actually, I redact that. I don't need to know much about Zach. Zach is also giving me have you healed energy, because one of the things that Zach says coming into this is he wants someone whose family is going to accept him for who he is. And one of the things that I would ask him as a therapist is like, but what if that person that you have chosen to be your person doesn't care about what their family thinks? So my question is for Zach, have you worked on some of those wounds that you had received in a previous relationship? Because I think that Zach is bringing some baggage. He's bringing baggage. Zach is coming in with airport 2 checked bags because he flies Southwest and they are free. So he's got 2 checked larger bags. And on top of that, he arrives at the gate with a smaller carry-on luggage and a backpack. Like That's the type of baggage Zach is giving me. Let's go into the women. We have Bliss. Bliss is 33. Bliss is giving me very much like, Bliss is exuding like home, wifey vibes. I mean, she goes above and beyond. She basically makes this man she don't even know, like physically, some cupcakes for his birthday. She is giving me, I want to make you feel good. I'm guessing that Bliss's way of showing love is going to be acts of service. Chelsea, I feel like when I saw Chelsea come on screen, I was just like, she's giving me like her mannerisms and the way that she talks in her speech. It's very much so giving me Zenab. Even some of her like facial expressions, she just gives me a Zenab vibe. But I will say that Chelsea to me appears to be one of the more mature women on the show. We're gonna get to that in a minute, why I say that she's one of the mature, because usually we don't have to talk about who's immature and who's mature.
Yeah, boy.
But this season we do. Irina needs therapy. To me, as I watch her, is very much so giving me immature. I've been seeing on the internet like people are calling her like a mean girl, and I see her as like someone that's gone through a lot and is using a defense mechanism. All right, Irina, I know that the internet is coming for her as a mean girl, but when I look at Irina, I see that the way that the behaviors that she has is coming from a place of a defense mechanism. She talked a little bit about how men have previously treated her related to her skin and also some of her own insecurities. And I think that Irina just really has a huge guard up. And honestly, I think that as the show progresses, Irina's there for a friendship and not necessarily for love. And I am going to have to say that I get why the internet is calling Irina a mean girl. I do. Here's the thing, hurt people hurt people. That's not a new phrase. And Irina is definitely giving me a hurt person who's hurting people. Jacquelina surprises me. I feel like she very much so has many sides to her. One of the things that I do love about Love is Blind is they allow an emotional connection, although some people struggle moving forward with having that physical connection to meet that emotional connection. But I really do think in Jacquelina and Marshall's case, it's aiding in their relationship, because there's a moment on the honeymoon where Jacquelina sort of has like a little breakdown. You feel me? I think that she might have gotten a little homesick. We don't really sort of get the context of everything. And in that, she is able to be vulnerable. At first, she pushes Marshall away, and then she's like, no, come here. So I think that Jacquelina is also being able to like push herself into allowing someone to be there for her, because as she expresses, she's often been the person that's been there for her entire family. That can be challenging for someone to sort of switch into that role where they're receiving instead of giving, especially when they're used to giving. Micah. Okay, where do I start? I think that Micah self-sabotages. I also think that we have Micah. Micah is, I don't know if Micah's ready for love. Let me rephrase it. I think everyone can be ready for love. I don't know if Micah is ready for a commitment. I don't know if Micah knows what she wants in a marriage, maybe even in a relationship, because here's my thing with what Micah did that I was like, we didn't need all that, ma'am. First of all, when she pulled Kwame aside in episode 5 when they're all on their honeymoon and she's telling Kwame how much she loves him and loved him in the pods. You didn't choose him, boo. You did not choose him. He don't need to hear that. You don't need to express that. Micah is also giving bully vibes to me. I know that the internet is calling her a mean girl, but she's giving bully vibes to me, especially with how she talks about Zach. I think that there is a way to have an ick about someone, but also on the circumstances, like that man ain't do, well, that we are aware of as a viewer with the editing, that man ain't do nothing to you. Nothing to you. Tiffany, I'm here for Tiffany. Tiffany is giving me black, vulnerable, beautiful vibes. I am rooting for Tiffany. She's also one of the more mature women. So I say like Tiffany here, then we got Chelsea here, and then we got go down, 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 and then you got Irina and Micah, and the other girls are somewhere in there. All right, now that we have done that, I want to tell you what I overall think of the show. I think over time, I'm definitely gonna say this show, this season is giving me more bully vibes, and it's not just from Irina and Micah. There were also some of the other girls, and it happened during episode 5 when they were sitting by the pool, and I think it was Jacquelina said something. Now, I also want to be understanding that this could be editing, but I was just like, this season, I feel like there's a lot more cattiness. There's a lot more like drama between like the individuals and not so much the partners. It's very much giving me like a reality TV show where couples live in all. Now, over the time, I would say that in watching the show, the only people that I am rooting for that I think as a therapist are ready for a relationship, if I'm being completely frank and honest, are Brett and Tiffany. Everybody else, I'm just like, I don't know if you're ready. Like even I might even consider Marshall and Jacquelina. I think they can get there. Everybody else, absolutely not. So the couples, we have Brett and Tiffany, we have Micah and Paul, then we have Kwame and Chelsea, and then we have Zach and Irina, and Jacquelina and Marshall. Of all of those couples, we have Brett and Tiffany. That is who I'm rooting for.
Oh my God! Wow!
I am rooting for Black love. I am rooting for effective communication. Now, of course, throughout the episodes, for the episodes when they come out, we are probably gonna see a little bit more drama, and you know what? Let's unravel it. But overall, that's what I'm thinking about the show. And you know what? Leave some comments below around how you are thinking about the show. Honestly, my opinion is I think we need to get a therapist on this show so that these people can go through therapy when they are living together before they say I do. Like a little premarital, like sprinkle a little bit of premarital counseling on there. I want to thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. You're already here. You're here. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. It literally costs you nothing. You support me and you get dope mental health content. Thank you so much for watching. Deuces.